Hi, everybody. Good to be back talking about animation. It's been a second. Welcome to the first episode of this new series on my channel, Last Week in Animation. It's exactly what it sounds like, a recap of all the big things that happened in the world of animation within the last week. Trailers, quick reviews of recent releases, news about upcoming projects. If it's worth talking about, then chances are you can count on it being here. All animation is welcome. Films, series, commercials, shorts, even comics and video games. Again, it's just gotta be worth talking about. Also, I'm sick. If it can't hear it in my voice. So yeah, if some of the inflections come off weird or just my voice is like just weird, then that's what's going on. Anyway, let's not waste any more time. The first thing talked about will always be what you see in the title and thumbnail, as that's what I consider to be the headline of the week. From there, we'll just be going down a list, more or less in order of importance or interest. So yeah, first we're going to go over the live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. We got our first look at the movie this week, and boy, it looks live-action. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that differentiates this from any other live-action remake. From what we were given, which is admittedly not much, it appears to be just another case of doing nothing different except changing how it looks. You read the official plot that was released, pause if you want to read it, and you're like, wait, isn't this what happened in the original movie? Yes! Yes, it is! This is the exact same plot. And I read several times while preparing this video that a bunch of the movie is shot for shot identical to the source material. Sure, we'll have to wait and see, because that's just articles and whatnot talking, but then you see the trailer, and I don't doubt it. There's Hiccup meeting Toothless, who, yes, does look really good. I'll give them that. No Sonic movie happening here. But he looked good already, with the rest of the world around him also animated. I've already seen this before, and so have millions of others who adore the original, fully animated stuff. You know what really tipped me over the edge? Over and over again, I had to read that this was the first live-action film by DreamWorks Animation. DreamWorks Animation making a live-action film. It sucks. But the fact that it's a remake, a replica more like, of one of their most beloved movies, it's just ugh. I mean, if you couldn't tell, I really do dislike live-action movies. I know I've kind of just been kneeing this movie in the crotch without giving it any praise, so I will say here that the setting is gorgeous. Again, the dragons look good, and the actors seem like good choices. Stoic's voice actor is actually playing him, which is awesome. But for any story, the most important thing is the story. I just don't get the point of slapping a new coat of paint over a story that's already been told, and that's also so beloved. You could at least do something different. Or better yet, tell an entirely new story. Give our beloved cast a new challenge. Or keep the universe, but bring us forward or back in time so we have a new cast with a different conflict. And at that point, you should just go ahead and animate the new creation and call it a prequel, a sequel, or a spinoff. Where does the live action part come in? It doesn't! Animation is just such a beautiful thing because it can be absolutely anything. Anything can happen, and it can seem real. Somehow, despite clearly not looking like something you'd see outside your house or anywhere on Earth, animated movies, at least with people I've talked to, are usually more immersive than live-action ones. The appeal, beyond looking beautiful and again containing things that we know not to be possible, is a world different from our own, a new place to explore and discover, and to lose ourselves in. With the live-action remake, that element is gone. These movies offer nothing in return for taking away the magic and unique stylizations of their animated counterparts. The impossible looks stupid, animals and creatures don't emote nearly as impactfully, and all immersion is gone. I just don't get why you would willingly subject yourself to the limitations of live action. I guess I'm especially upset because DreamWorks and these other studios, but especially DreamWorks, have been like the respite from this onslaught of wank remakes by Disney. They started with Alice and Jungle Book, but then jumped over to Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, and now Lilo and Stitch is coming soon. And that's just when it became apparent that, like, oh, it's a cash grab. They're going for the jugular, for the Disney Renaissance, for arguably their greatest and most impactful, wonderful, beloved films. And it just stinks to high heaven because all of these remakes have not been in the same solar system as their source material. They've all been so boring and uninspired and have had no impact. At the time of recording this, I've seen all of them but Little Mermaid, and I didn't feel anything during any of them except for Aladdin. That time, I felt ripped off. And I've seen Aladdin on stage. I saw it on Choir Tour, and it was fantastic. But this, the immersion was broken, if it was even there to begin with. If you're going to make a live-action remake, Disney, make it for Snow White, or Cinderella, or Sleeping Beauty, and use it to actually give those movies some substance. Give the princess a backbone, for heaven's sake. That would be a good reason to remake an animated movie with real actors. In theory. To summarize, How to Train Your Dragon's upcoming live-action movie looks like it's going to be a bar-for-bar replica of the original animated one. I don't like live-action remakes, so though this one looks pretty, I cannot forgive it for being a cash grab that does nothing different. I can, however, forgive DreamWorks, because this week we also got our first look at the Bad Guys sequel, and this looks good. Now, this is the DreamWorks I know and love. This is the DreamWorks that I believe to be in the midst of an incredible renaissance of their own. God, this animation's gorgeous. Anyway, the plot this time is that the bad guys are now good after the events of the first film, but it's been several years and people still don't trust them. Then they meet the bad girls, who from the looks of it force them out of retirement to do what's being referred to as one last job. The animation, the voice acting, the writing, the action, so far it looks to have all the charm of the original. And I'm excited. Again, DreamWorks, more of this. Moving on to yet another trailer drop. This is the third of 5 big trailers that dropped last week. Disney, you're up to bat. I talked smack about your horrid live-action blitzkrieg, now it's your turn to take the stage. And take the stage you did. This new Elio trailer is fantastic. Okay, so last time we saw what looked like a sudden and frightening abduction. Elio was brought in front of an intergalactic council, and we saw a ton of interesting-looking characters. This time, though, we see that Elio is a boy who is obsessed not just with outer space, but specifically with aliens. We get this whole scene of him sleeping out on a beach, saying that he's waiting to be abducted. I'm not joking, it's literally what he says. Anyway, this time during the abduction, Elio is hyped. He's super excited. He's like, yes, finally! And that's what hooked me. Alien contact and abductions are always painted as this horribly frightening thing, something that usually happens without warning and against the character's will. But what happens when the character actually wants to go? You know, what happens when they want to be abducted? And also the scenery, the environment, gorgeous. I mean, of course, this is Disney. The animation/visual aspect is always going to be top-notch. I wonder if they're going to reuse any assets from Strange World. They could honestly probably get away with that, since nobody watched it. I'm not trying to hate. I'm just making an observation. For this next segment, though, I'll unfortunately have to hate. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, one of the latest and best Disney Channel shows, is putting out the episodes from its second and final season. One of these episodes, though, is being held back from official release. It focuses on Brooklyn, who is trans, and their experience with prejudice and school sports. When the news first broke that Disney wouldn't be airing the episode, a post went viral that both claimed it was banned due to the results of the election and leaked it in full. It's since been taken down, with Disney stepping in to clarify that they haven't banned the episode. They've merely put it on hold. Yeah, it's not looking like we'll be able to watch this one. Though this doesn't exactly match Disney's self-appointed image of diversity, inclusivity, and being a welcome place for everyone, let's just look at it as a work, a project, something that was made, a person's idea for art that became a finished, completed product. How would you feel if you spent your time, resources, mind, just all of you, on something you were passionate about, and that you believed with elation would be shown to the world, only for the people who gave you the green light to refuse to display what you made at the last second? I was so pissed when nearly the entirety of the number 2 entry on my top 10 creepiest cartoons video was blocked by bullshit copyright. I can't even imagine what it must feel like to have an entire episode not shown at all. This hurts writers, animators, voice actors, creators. It hurts everyone involved. It just sucks. And I also want to add that no matter how you feel about the content within the episode, we can all agree that Disney needs to stop flip-flopping when it comes to their stance on the LGBTQ+, and just pick a side. And make it clear, if you keep going back and forth with this kind of shit, the community doesn't know if they're safe and supported, and the people against it don't know if they're going to see something they don't want to see. Trying to please everyone never pleases anyone. Maybe it helps that I'm still in high school, but look at the League of Nations from the end of World War I. Trying to incorporate everyone's feelings and interests meant that it was unstable and firm on nothing, and so it failed. Ms. Medina, if you're watching this, I hope you're proud of me. That's right, I still remember my world history class. Anyway, we're not done with Disney just yet, and actually we're giving them another shot at something good. The Inside Out spin-off miniseries, Dream Productions, just put out a trailer. That's trailer number 4. And, it looks serviceable. Interesting concept, the animation looks good, as does the voice acting. I think the funny part to me is the name. Dream Productions. I wonder if there was a better sounding name. Maybe it was already taken. Whatever, that's probably not even that funny. Yeah, the show looks fine. It's going to be short. I think it's only like 4 episodes or something. And also, it takes place between the two Inside Out movies. Less things to draw and try to fit in, I guess. Less people to pay, too. That's probably it. Though it would have been kind of... Actually, no. Teenager Dreams, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. Okay. Next up is something that I wasn't going to talk about. The Coca-Cola AI ad. I don't even have a script for this. Because, again, I wasn't going to talk about it. But then I was playing video games, and I got the ad myself. I don't know if I've ever been filled with so much rage. They made an ad entirely with AI, and then released it to the world, not like as a filler thing, like at least Angry Birds, they were saying like, oh, it's a filler until we make official art for the game, just to see how people would react. They actually put this out as an advertisement. And you know what made me, like, legitimately, I threw my phone? I don't know the last time I threw my phone. I threw my phone because the ad ends with, like, the Coca-Cola, name, and then it says real magic under it. Really, real magic. This is AI. I am so glad, because Coca-Cola has been under fire from this ad. Same thing that happened with Angry Birds. Same thing that happened with, like, those, like, movies that have been released. Same thing that happened with those movies that have been released recently that have been like, oh, I'm the first AI animated movie. I'm so glad that these are getting, like, shot down, that they are being berated with just hate, because AI is not art. AI art is not art. You just type something into a software and it spat out something. You had to pay nobody. You had to do no work. Listen, again, I'm just flustered. I don't have a script. I'm just upset because companies keep trying to cut these corners and use AI not as a tool, but to do the entire job. It is cheap, it is not art, it is bullshit, and I am so glad that companies that have been doing this have been under fire, have been scrutinized, and have been targeted by, people everywhere. And they're, receiving this immense backlash. I am glad. Keep doing that. If you see more AI ads or quote-unquote movies or just AI art in general, that's just like being put out as an alternative to paying actual artists and actually spending time on something, then yes, I know it's not good on YouTube or whatever to say, like, to dislike this thing, but please do speak up about this. Like, please make it heard that this is not what we want and that we do not approve of this, and that if you do this, you're going to be under fire, So, yeah, I couldn't believe that I actually got the ad. I thought it was like a TV ad or something, but no, I was on my phone playing video games, and then I got the ad. I had to sit through the whole thing, and I was just in awe that such rubbish could be on my screen. So, with that said, there are just a few things left on our list. I'm going to fire these off a little bit faster, a little less in depth, but that's only because there isn't as much to talk about. Okay. The final big trailer that dropped this week was the Wonder Pets reboot, Wonder Pets in the City. I was pleasantly surprised. I'll admit that I didn't have high expectations, but the trailer looked adorable, and above all else, it looks like it's going to be a quality children's show that really offers something. Unfortunately, you need Apple TV Plus to watch it, so that sucks. Pokemon Horizons is getting a second season. We got a short preview of it, and whatever. Apparently the show is doing really well, and people really like it. I personally have not heard anything about it since it was announced that it wouldn't star Ash. But hey, good for Pokemon. I do kind of miss Ash, though. Anyway, Disney and the NBA will join forces for a special called Dunk the Halls. The Knicks vs. Spurs game that's happening on Christmas will be played on a fully animated court with Mickey and the gang cheering on the teams. I think I also read that they're going to be interviewing the players. That's kind of awesome. I want to see that. Disney, I know I haven't said all good things about you in this episode, but if you need a Donald Duck...
I'm fully through get you off the position. I get the person. I'm sort of get what he's doing.
But yeah, this game will be available on ESPN2 and Disney+. Finally, we'll end with the animation person of the week. For this first episode, our person is Pamela Hayden, who announced that after being a part of The Simpsons for 35 years as the voice of Milhouse and several other minor characters, she'll be retiring. Happy trails, Ms. Hayden, and thank you for everything. Whew, alright, I think that's it. Thank you for joining me for this first episode. I'm pretty fortunate that there was so much to talk about this week. That's definitely not going to be the case every time. The next installment literally might be 5 minutes long, or somehow even longer than this one. The main thing I wanted to say, though, is that I'm a senior in high school with a ton of things going on as life ramps up. So I'll do my best to be as consistent as possible, but it's pretty much inevitable that at some point I'll miss a week, or two, or a bunch. I digress, though. We'll get there when we get there. Again, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts, both on what we talked about and my presentation itself, down in the comments below. I don't know what the next video will be, but I hope to see you there. Hope you enjoy.